Hello again. I've had a nice quiet night moored here just to the east of the Braunston Tunnel, which is in the distance behind me over there. And it's still very humid, but it's a lot cooler. I did hear a few drops of rain at about 3 in the morning. It's never set in properly, so I'm going to make my way up to the Watford flight. Watford Gap services on the M1 and up there, and it's a staircase flight, so that should be interesting. It's a little bit different. I've never been up the Leicester Branch before, so let's see what it looks like. Here's another field being dug up for housing. Quite big houses by the look of them, these. But everywhere we go it seems there's a housing project, a suburb, extra properties being put up. Yeah, level's not too bad here. It's just below the lip of the weir. So they've obviously been pumping again and filled up this pound. Well, we're now approaching the Norton Junction, where I head north up to Watford Gap and up the locks, and I haven't done that section before. If you do turn right and head south, you end up going down the Buckby flight down to Stoke Bruerne through the Watford Tunnel, and eventually you get to Norton Junction, where you can head east and go down the Northampton flight to the River Nene and Peterborough and the Fens and places beyond, Great Ouse down to Bedford if you wish to go that far. Or you can carry on straight down the Grand Union, heading south, and end up in London, either going down the Paddington Arm to Limehouse or on the Thames, or going to Brentford, which is my preferred route personally, and then going up the Thames to Reading and getting onto the Kennet and Avon or the Oxford Canal that way. So I'm heading north onto unfamiliar territory. It's going to be interesting. So this is it, through Bridge 10 and a left turn up the Leicester arm of the Grand Union Canal and onto Pastures New. And onto Pastures New. It's quite a tight one, so I'm going to put the camera down. Norton Junction, Grand Union Canal. Actually, you know what, I'm going to hang on to it. Heading due north, pretty much, up towards Watford Locks. I don't know if I'm going to make that with the canopy, so I shall have to check before I hit it. Well, we're just a very short way up the Leicester Arm, and here is a marina with all facilities. I can see diesel pumps, I can see them from here. They must have LSAN and toilet pump out facilities. They've got slipway and diesel and everything you can need. So gas cylinders, so here you go. If you need it, here it is, just inside the Leicester Arm, about half a mile up. Here on the right, just past bridge number 3, we get to another marina, but this one is not for public, it's a private one for berth holders only. And we're getting very close to Watford Gap services on the M1 now, which is just across that field over there. And we'll see that in a minute because we go right past it. Just in front of us now, in a moment, we go under the A5 road bridge, Watling Street, quite a major road. And then shortly after that we go under a railway bridge. And then we're into the Watford Lock flight. Honestly, if I showed you the map and said we were right here in between the A5, the motorway, and the M1, you would absolutely not believe it. The next shot I show you is where we actually are right now. And that is where I showed you on the map just a second ago. It does not look like we're in the middle of industry. I mean, I can see the railway line just over to the right. See the wires, I'll hold the camera up as high as I can. And there's the railway bridge off in the distance that we're going to go under. But it seems very tranquil. So I think this is the old LNER line we're going under here. Quite an extensive bridge, but with a towpath. And funny enough, just through the gap in the hedge there is Watford Gap. That's the lorry park, and that's Watford Gap services on the M1. And we're on the northbound side here. And apparently you can get access to the services quite easily from the towpath, so I've been told. And now you can hear the railway, and you do know you're in the middle of all these big roads and rail routes. Through the trees here on the left, there looks like what was an abandoned pub. Oh, Mango Lounge, Thai and Indian cuisine. Yeah, it's all boarded up in places. It looks like it's been long abandoned. A nice canal side property for someone. And as I was saying before, the water levels here don't look too bad. They're just below the top of the spillway, an inch below spilling over. And you can see the M1 across there. It's as close as we get to it before we go under it. In a second we'll be coming into the Watford locks. They're really very close now. It seems to take a long time to get there, but we really are very close to Watford locks now. And then after the locks we go under the motorway and leave it behind. It appears we finally arrived at the Watford lock flight, and there's a queue, which is of course what you'd expect. It's summer holidays. I have no idea whether these are wide or narrow locks, I can't remember, but we'll see in a second. And at least it looks as though we're going to be able to get on the moorings for these. It's always a pain when you have to stand on the bank here and hold the boat waiting for a bollard to tie off onto, so we must be pretty close. There won't be too much waiting. Welcome to Watford locks. Do not enter the locks until you've booked in with the lockkeeper. The lockkeeper can be found working the flight or in the hut by the top lock. Okay. Make sure the flight is clear before progressing, because these are staircase locks. The bottom gates of one lock are the top gates of the next. Well, going up, the top gates of the lock you go into are the bottom gates of the next. And they are narrow, so it's one boat at a time. Right, this is the Watford locks. Narrow locks, 1902, rebuilt 1976, and pumping going on, you can hear it. So I need to go and have a chat with the lockkeeper about going up the staircase. Oh, this one's not a staircase lock.
Can you book in escape behind Elwood 2, please?
So I've been booked in to go up, and they'll tell me when it's best to save the most water. Here's this little bridge. Just show you the canal. And I think that's the staircase in front there. Quite new gates these, and they've got the new CRT logo on them and banners. And there's the M1. Well, I'm tied off here by the pumping station at the bottom of the Watford lock flight. The lockkeeper's told me to wait for instructions, so that is exactly what I'm doing. But while we're here waiting, there's a water point, so I might as well fill up and take on some water here. Right, on our way up the Watford flight, the first lock is not part of the staircase, so it has this little pound after it here, and we're going to take that spot where Elwood, this boat in front of us, is. The bridge here is a bit lower, and the second lock isn't part of the staircase either. So we squeeze in, and I had to put the canopy down because this bridge is quite a bit lower than the previous one. And in front of us now we see the staircase. 5 locks in a staircase flight. It's kind of a tourist attraction as well as being a flight of locks. And once you're in the first lock you have to go all the way up. You can't stop or turn around or anything like that. So it's up to the top. And they've got side pounds, these. You can see them across here, look, to make sure the locks don't run out of water. Yeah, the bridges here have got progressively lower, so I'm really glad I took the canopy down because it's quite tight, this one. And here we are into the staircase. Oh, that's a deep lock. It looks it. Of course, your rise in the next lock is part of the gate height. Spectacular sight. Luckily they're ground paddles. If they were gate paddles, the water would come shooting out at eye level, but fortunately they're not. Try and keep the boat in the middle of the lock with the throttle. Okay, so now he's wound the second ground paddle. The red one's the first one there on the left, and that is now allowing the water out of that lock into this one. And these side pounds here that you can see, they oh no, he's allowing the water out of the lock into the side pound, which means that water is saved. Half a lock worth of water is saved. So that paddle he was winding allows the water out of the lock ahead into the side pound to drop the level, so that they don't waste that water. And then that water can be used again to fill this lock with. Clever. Now we're on into the second lock of the staircase.
Yeah. About 7 years. Oh, right, yeah. Until we could do the sun on the door from the 3-bedroom office.
So they close both the side pound paddle and the lock ground paddle, and then I would imagine he'll open the side pound paddle there to allow water out of the side pound back into this lock. We'll see. Yep, there he is. That's coming in from the side pound now, slowly raising us up. So all that water that came out of this lock has been saved and can be used again, or half of it at least. It's quite gentle actually, the rise. The boats aren't pulling around too badly, not like some of the locks on the Oxford Canal. So before they let us up into the next lock, you can have a good look at the side pounds here and see how they work. The water is allowed out of the lock into the side pound to save water, and then back in again if it's needed later. So we've reached the top of the staircase. There's a boat waiting in the pound in front of us, and we get to look down, back down the hill at the lovely countryside. So that's the top, and everyone's been ridiculously helpful again, and they've helped us through. And we're just about to pass under the M1 here. There's a little lockkeeper's office there with books and water as well again. And here's the M1. So this is one of the original concrete 1950s M1 bridges that we're going under here. So just like the Oxford, this is a small, shallow, narrow canal, and it very obviously becomes impossible to push the boat along quickly, so there's no point in trying. Just take your time and chug along, and that's what we're doing here, especially when we go past other moored boats. A mile from the top of the Watford Lock Flight approximately is the entrance, the south entrance to the Crick tunnel, which we will go through, and then I'm going to look for a mooring on the other side and probably go back and move the car ahead a bit. Well, the canal map book for this section is called The Heart of England, and here we are passing fields of sheep. It's beautiful, and we are truly in the heart of England. And there's a cormorant just in front of us that was under the water, that's surfaced. This beautiful section of the canal has no locks for over 20 miles from the top of the Watford Gap staircase flight through the Crick tunnel, 20 miles with no locks. We're on the summit here. Just coming up here on the right is a beautiful old wooden working boat, BCN 1516, that's Birmingham Canal Navigations. And yes, it is a wooden boat, you can see that from the planking the hull's built of. And it's amazing really how many of these boats have been preserved and do survive, when you consider that they're around 100 years old, and they had a very tough working life as well. That really is quite lovely. Fine old thing to see. We've just passed under a railway bridge, which is Bridge 9A, and coming up to Bridge 10, which is the last bridge before the south portal of the Crick tunnel. And here at Bridge 10 you can turn around just before you go in the tunnel in case you've changed your mind and decide you don't want to do it. So it's navigation lights on again, rudder lights on, deck lights on, interior lights on, and through the tunnel we go. And there it is, the southern portal of the Crick tunnel, and you can actually see the other end very clearly. It's really straight, this one. Yes, extinguish all naked lights and all that stuff. This was built in 1814. Two-way traffic, 1,387 metres. So it's not as long as the last one we came through at Braunston, but it is still quite long. And I hope it's not too wet. Some of these can be quite wet. This tunnel can't be extremely deep, because here we are 200 metres odd in, and I'm still getting an H+ phone signal. The midpoint of the tunnel there, and about 700 metres in, and we can still see both ends very clearly. There's a boat just coming in behind us now. This end of the tunnel's quite wet. There's quite a lot of water coming through the ceiling. I don't know if you can see the windscreen there, but there's trickles coming down most of the northern end for the last 500 metres or so. So just be aware of that when you're coming through. You might want to put a wide-brimmed hat on or a jacket. If it's been raining a lot, it'll be worse. And back into the daylight. The Crick tunnel, done. Here I am at the north end of the Crick tunnel, just south of Crick itself. And I'm stopping for a bit. There's 14-day moorings all along here. And I'm stopping so that I can go back and get the car from Braunston, because I only paid for 2 nights parking at the marina. And I want to move it up anyway. Yeah, so here we are at Crick. And it looks like you can get ice creams and teas here. I'll just turn the camera around so you can see that. And me with it. It's over there. And yeah, it's a nice quiet spot. Not much traffic through Watford locks. Yeah, quiet up here.